Hello and welcome everybody to episode 23 of HeroesHype Live. With me today, as always, is Dunkstick. How you doing, buddy?
Hey everybody, doing pretty good today. Ready to get going with some open talk.
And our special guest today is one of our very own casters, Fear. How you doing, bud?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. The past couple of days have been pretty exciting. A lot of good games, and I'm ready to get talking with them about them. We'll go with that. I want to get right into it and talk about EU. So our top four this week were Team Singularity, Granite Gaming, Manticore, and Clausen's Army. Now, Singularity and Manticore both made it to the finals. They were the finalists last week, and once again, Singularity pulled out the 2-0. Were you guys surprised at all by that, or is it like another day at the office? This is what's supposed to happen, based off what you saw.
I said it last week. First game of the day when I started watching EU games, I was like, "This is still Singularity." Last week, I said from the get-go, "This is the team that's going to go through every single team and win."
Mm-hmm.
They always look so crisp and so clean. They're always on point. I was not surprised to find out that they went ahead and 2-0'd Manticore again for week 2 of the EU Open.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch them live. I was unfortunately working at that point, but Loranis has been one player that I think is a contender for MVP for the whole Open Division already. You know, he's making sick plays. Their rotations are on point all the time. They're quicker than the opponent, most likely all the time. However, they ran into a little bit of trouble in the semifinals against Granite Gaming. Instead of 2-0, like the rest of their bracket, they went 2-1. And Granite Gaming, who I've looked at, they have a few old pros, including Nape, who he was the support on Tricked, if I remember correctly, last year in the HGC. So their team is nothing to scoff at. I'm pretty happy with how they played. They looked really good. They looked really solid, especially in, I think it was the Tomb? Did they play in Tomb against Singularity?
The third game was Tombless by the Queen.
Yeah. That one looked great. They were winning for a good portion of it, and then I don't know what happened, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, watching that game, I almost thought for a moment that we were going to see a new champion this week. Because out of those two teams, and I watched Granite Gaming somewhat last week, those are my number 1 and 2. Yes, Manticore has made it all the way to the finals this week and last, but they didn't have to deal with Granite Gaming, so...
Yeah, that's true. Going to the other side of the bracket, we had Manticore in the semis playing against Clausen's Army. Now, Clausen's Army, in week 1, lost quite early. I think it was the second or third round to the other semifinalists, Granite Gaming. Now, I was really hyped from their play in day 1 because I was adminning through it, and especially the Tyrael play. If your team can play Tyrael really well, I will like you. It's basically how I think. And they looked really strong with Tyrael. Now, it didn't work so well against Manticore. And unfortunately, they fell in kind of a quick 2-0. At least it seemed quick to me. Which is a little unfortunate, but they looked good coming up the bracket. Then they just hit a wall. So
yeah, it's still so early in the season that teams like this that sort of got knocked out the first round in the first week, you don't get so much experience and so much stuff match experience to actually look back on and review your replays. So I think a team like this who's developing, every week you get further and further and just try to stack up your points and progress as much as you can.
And they broke into the top 8 with that semifinal finish. So, and they ended up finishing 4th. They lost to Granite Gaming in the third place match. So, I mean, it's definitely something to be proud of. I'm really happy with how they played. I think they're a team to watch and see how much they improve over the course of the 7 weeks. So, yeah, I think of the 4 semifinalists, they're the most intriguing to me. Singularity and Manticore, I think you'll see both in the top 4 every week at this point, and then Granite Gaming is going to be another one. Valhalla didn't make it to the semis. They lost to
Granite Gaming.
Granite Gaming in the quarterfinals. Yep. Actually, I forgot to mention, Clausen's Army beat Team Go 2-1 in the quarterfinals, which is that was the big upset for me this week.
And it is important to note, for those of you that don't know, Valhalla was our top 4 finish last week. Got 2-0'd by Granite Gaming this week, but in the previous week, actually 2-0'd Granite Gaming. So definitely some tough contenders. The skill level of these teams are definitely all around the board. I think it's going to be a really close race in the end. I do think Singularity is going to stay up. They have showed a lot of consistency and a lot of drive. Playing each week already and taking the gold it's a great morale booster, and I really hope that they don't let it go to their heads. Focus on the game and get better and better and challenge some of these HGC EU teams in the Crucible later on.
So outside of those teams, were there any other teams that didn't make top 4 that you think can definitely make that push?
We already talked a little bit on it. Team Go, definitely. That's one of our top 4 teams from last week. They looked really good this week. Clausen showing up a little stronger, though, taking that 2-1 win.
Okay.
I think... Where are they? I lost the other team.
Well, while you're looking for them, a team that Team Go beat the round before the quarterfinals was Terra's Redzina, who I think is another contender. Week 1, they lost to Singularity in the first round, so that was really unlucky. And then this week, they ran into Team Go and lost 2-1. So they're definitely a strong team. I think they're another group that always needs to be taken seriously. Like, you can't just walk over them, you know? So.
Yeah. And that team I was looking for is E-Punks.
E-Punks.
They actually, unfortunately, met Granite Gaming a little early in the bracket. Did manage to take them to 3 games, which, when you think about it, Granite Gaming took Singularity to 3 games. So that's kind of a good thing, you know. You took on a team that took on the best team and actually took a game off them. So that's pretty exhilarating when, like, looking down the road.
Yeah. So with that, I do want to highlight a player, and that would be, I have the clip, I just need to find him.
Raid Boss?
Yeah, it was the Garrosh play from Granite Gaming in that Game 3, Tomb of the Spider Queen. And I have a clip right here. I'll play it.
Will single target focus the Web Weaver in the top lane. The rest of the team rotates to bottom. Raid Boss takes a lot of damage. Needs to be careful.
Raid Boss.
Look at this. He's
so
predicting
watch this play.
See the rotation. They find Loranus. There's the unstoppable indomitable. There's the cooldown. The beautiful focus. Ancestral Lance though. But with Sanctification, there's nowhere to go. And the rest of Granite are able to just easily tank through that.
It's amazing that...
All right. So one of the things that I wanted to point out with that was Tyrion's Swift Retribution at level 7 makes Garrosh incredibly quick. And with his displacement ability, I think that could become one of the strongest tank combos in the game. And you saw how he hit Unstoppable just as Joanna was hitting her Condemn and tossed the Gul'dan right on top of his team. They kill him really quickly, and the Sank comes out just as the Fear is coming out, which is huge. Well, actually, no, the Fear wasn't even up, so he was dead anyway. But stopping any other damage or CC that could come through, I thought that was an excellent play from them.
Yeah, just smooth execution on that.
You're really utilizing the fact that anytime Garrosh wants to enter a zone, it becomes his zone. Because of how Wrecking Ball works, you never want to be next to him. So even as a tank, because you could very well end up on the dead side. Even a Johanna can be chunked out by a full combo Garrosh followed up with the Greymane as well as the rest of his teammates. No, really excellent work on him choosing that path. He could have tried to go down, thinking they were going to back off, go down a little farther, and maybe fight at a different angle. But he chose the right path and was able to cut him off.
Yep. All right. So with that, I'm going to move into NA. And I know all three of us covered NA quite extensively. You guys were covering another part of the bracket on the HeroesHype stream as casters. And then I was working with Jake and Kala, and we were following XD. So what impressed you the most from the teams that you were following?
Flaming Laser Sword, man.
Yeah, Flaming Laser Swords were fantastic. They were really good. They came out of nowhere, and they fell to SMV, I believe, in the round of 16, but they took them to 3 games, which even XD didn't end up doing at the end in the finals. So
Yeah, that was honestly kind of surprising. I thought the finals were going to go to 3 games, but
yeah.
the last couple of fights just turned it into SMV's favor, and I don't know. I felt kind of bad, to be honest. Like I want the game 3 because both of these teams are exciting to watch. Outside of XD and SMV, the other semifinalists were NA LOL once again, and they looked better this week, I think, compared to last week. They looked much more like a contender. Last week
they looked very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Last week I think they played SMV in the semis, whereas this week they played XD. I don't know if that was part of it, but NA LOL seemed to just have a better understanding of the game. And both, even though it was a 2-0, it was a close 2-0. You know?
Oh,
but, yeah. It could have gone, like, one of the games could have gone either way. Both of them could have gone either way, to be honest. On the other side of the bracket...
about that bracket, that top side of the bracket was very much so the hardest side of the bracket. We had some of our top teams competing to move on forward. Even in Death, former pros, Battery and Dark Chimera, Nesper, Steam, XD, Team Nightcare, Taliant, LZ Gamer, Legend on that team, Oh My Science, Troy 1010, the former team for Battery and Dark Chimera. And then we had LSU Purple, LSU's dorm team, who was a bunch of experienced players, made top 2 in the dorms last year. Evil Medieval, who's basically Domavarian times 5, taking them down. We saw teams like Reborn even go farther than that. And then that was an exciting side of the bracket.
I felt pretty fortunate to be able to follow that one. To be honest, throughout the entire run, we followed XD the entire way. XD versus EID, and it is not even in Death. I learned it is just EID.
Oh, really?
Okay.
They told us. I don't know what it means. We came up with different names for the anagram, but the point is that was the closest series of Monday for me, anyway. Those games were both really close. Yeah. Nesper on Tracer looked fantastic. Dark Chimeras, Twilight Dreams were great. And then Zanehyde, who I know is a Hero League player, like a Hero League grinder, he showed up, you know. I was surprised by his play, actually, in a competitive setting. I'd never seen him play in a tournament before, but I thought it was really good.
Dark Chimera is particularly impressive on a couple different heroes, but Malfurion, I think in particular, was, like you said, the Twilight Dreams and the Roots just were really on point.
So now going back to your side of the bracket, we had SMB have a pretty easy run, except for Flaming Laser Sword. That series, I had it on my other monitor, and that was exciting to watch. Just like, I had to make sure I was not distracted. Because
Flaming Laser Sword, really, they almost took it. It was right there, and I think the game 3 was Tomb of the Spider Queen.
That was game 2.
Game 2 was Tomb.
I remember, did they play SMV on Dragonshire? Or was that against
Buckethead?
Bucketheads?
Was the final game of the night.
Okay.
For them.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one was pretty exciting. Did they play Kerrigan on that one? I know they played Kerrigan. I don't remember if it was against SMV.
Oh, sorry. You know what? Dragonshire was the first game. Battlefield of Eternity was the third game.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. Right. Because they won Dragonshire.
No, they lost. SMV won Dragonshire. Flaming Laser Sword won Tomb.
Tomb, correct.
And SMV obviously won BOE because they took the 2-1 win.
Yeah. And SMB looking just so good on BOE the whole way through. I mean, they just, even with when they were, I mean, we talked about it a million times, they would just play their comforts and trash on everyone pretty much. And even in the finals, when it seemed like they were off their really core comforts, they still played just as well. So it was kind of scary because they really did take ETC away from Leon Black, and the rest was all
Yeah.
No, and actually, I want to talk about the win against SMV that Flaming Laser Sword took. I actually posted a clip on Twitter, and I should have given it to Argy. SMV actually ran the Tyrael Garrosh combo on Tomb of the Spider Queen that we just saw from Granite Gaming versus Singularity. And essentially the same thing. They would run at them and create a flip, cause a pick, and it was exciting to watch. And Garrosh was not friendly to his teammates. Many times he would into the fray his own teammate to get that kill. He was not afraid to make that sacrifice, and it was exhilarating to watch.
I always love Garrosh's that troll just a little bit. Just a little bit.
It
Now-
was Sky Temple. First map was Sky Temple.
Was it?
Yeah. I'm looking at my replays.
So the last semifinalist that I want to talk about, which I don't think we've mentioned yet, is Serial Killers. And for anyone who doesn't know, that team includes Fats, Liam, Diesel, Centurion, and Caesar Salad. Now, I remember Caesar Salad from Team Numerics, and that was a few months ago, and that was with Kwanzar and Fasta. That team was always exciting to watch, and I fell in love with his Stukov play especially, and I got a chance to see it Tuesday night. Unfortunately, it didn't work out very well, but it was still, it's always fun to see a hero or a player on a hero that they are really good at. I wouldn't say they were a one trick, but they're good.
A lot of big, good names there from the amateur scene. Centurion, Liam, definitely a team to watch in the coming weeks. I believe their first week did not go as well. I believe they actually, if I'm correct, I believe they got knocked out first game against XD, and that's unfortunate. That's just unfortunate seeding. Nothing we can really
First
do
week
about that.
completely random. So
actually they lost 3-1. I'm looking at it right now. Who was also a team that looked pretty good in the top bracket, but unfortunately had to lose to XD.
Yeah. So let's talk about the finals for a bit. The second game in particular in Infernal Shrines, I thought that game one, SMV had control for pretty much 95% of the game. So going into game two, it's looking like, well, SMV is probably going to quick 2-0 this, and we're going to be having an early night. However, that wasn't the case. SMV had a pretty good hold in the game for the early part, but Talking Trees on Kerrigan is one of the scariest things I've ever seen. I know Psalm, when you look at the HGC, Psalm is like the Kerrigan you think of. When you look at the Open Division, Talking Trees should be that Kerrigan that you think of. He is nailing combos left and right. He is just he's setting up picks with his tank player, and I am missing his name right now, or Zane Hyde, sorry. No, Jin. My bad. I'm confusing the teams. But he and Jin are working really well together, especially when they're on that combo of Tyrael and Kerrigan. And, geez, I'm not going to be surprised next week if Kerrigan is banned anytime that she would be a possible pick. Probably not in
Yeah.
that first rotation, but I'll guarantee you it'll happen several times next week. Second rotation bans, Kerrigan's gone.
We saw Kerrigan used to a lot of effect, even in the early rounds this week.
Yes,
we
sir.
saw it was Flaming Laser Sword.
Yep.
This Nirvana is the player on Flaming Laser Sword, and he's kind of a flex. He played Illidan and Hanzo and Hammer, some different stuff. And he played Kerrigan their first game, and it was a similar feeling where it just took over the game. But the difference in the finals was SMB just had an unbelievable rally, and then took that fight at the top shrine, I think, at the end. It was just an insane, very, very much value Genji play.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, and we actually saw a very similar combo coming out of them that XT tried to pull with the Malthael and the Kerrigan, being on the same being in the same composition, and I'd actually called it out in that first game that I didn't think it would do well, and I very much so had to eat those words. That was a exciting game to watch. But yeah, definitely we saw, I think, 4 Kerrigan games throughout the night on our side of the bracket. She was played quite a bit, going with that block auto attack build where you reset the cooldowns and just try to lock down your enemy as much as possible. And it was a lot of fun. The teams were definitely using her to try to be very aggressive in these games, especially when most of them are running 2 to 3 assassins easily.
Yep. And especially if it's, I know I saw a couple times where it was Kerrigan against triple ranged. She terrorizes that comp every time because you can't really get in her face. Yeah. So, lastly, I wanna talk about the third place match, which Fear, you got a chance to cast, and that ended up going 3 games.
It did end up going 3 games, and they were fairly close games too.
Now, I want to focus purely on game 3 here because I think that was, at least for me, the most exciting to watch. What was most exciting for you on Dragonshire for them? Whether it's NA LoL or Serial Killers, what impressed you the most?
I liked Sirius's Blaze play, was really impressive. Although they did lose that game, I liked watching him try to play the Blaze in that solo capacity. I just don't know if that is the role that they should be fitting Blaze into, because he looked really strong and his ability to peel was really significant, but I don't think it was supplemented by enough CC with the setup they had going on. There was a lot of strange picks in the in that last 3 games. The first game was as close to the Battlefield game was as close to just standard metas you're gonna get, but then we went into Dragonshire. We were talking about Blaze, Greymane, Lucio, Junkrat, Malthael. And the Junkrat play, we had some really out stuff. We had Bunker, and I believe we actually had a what is the name? The non-Riptire ultimate from Junkrat, which is called
Rocket
Ride. Yeah,
That's always fun.
It was really fun. He didn't get too much value from it. He did save himself a couple times, so it was really exciting games to watch. Trying to think what else happened in the third game on Tomb of the Spider Queen. I really liked the Stitches Stukov play, but again, it just didn't work out. So all the plays I was liking were not resulting in victories, but I really talked a lot with Ghost Dunk last night about how I love Tomb of the Spider Queen because it really brings some really different playstyle heroes to the top, and it's not like, I feel like the popular maps now, such as Battlefield and Infernal Shrines, are maps on which the heroes that are already powerful are also powerful specifically for those maps, like Hanzo on Battlefield. So I really like Tomb of the Spider Queen, where Stitches, Chromie, and Johanna stuff and Ragnaros, stuff like that starts to float to the top.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm finding most fun about this current meta in both the amateur and pro HGC scene.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the shift that's happening, especially with Blaze and Tyrael coming in. I think that the Tyrael work has made him a top tier tank. The only thing that he lacks is CC.
Right.
But
So
he makes up for that
supplement.
in utility. And yeah, you can fill it in. That's why I think Kerrigan's so strong. It's because she fills that CC void. And Tyrael, especially with his level 1 talent, just enables her that much more.
Yeah, the run speed thing is really crazy. Like you were talking about how he enables Garrosh before. I remember as soon as they reworked Garrosh's Q ability to not pull in anymore, I was trying to figure out ways in which to make Garrosh effective. And the first thing I found was play with Lucio. And you just speed boost you in, you just run up to somebody, throw him back. And it's the same thing with Tyrael, except Tyrael is also wanting to be on the front line. So it's just like, I think he enables so many people with that. Is the level 7 talent where he gives the attack speed and extra run speed. That is really just so enabling for any auto attack centric hero.
Especially, I'm going to point to Kerrigan again, because she gets bladed to momentum at 7. With Swift Retribution, she's attacking like every half second, getting cooldowns.
The cleave too.
And she gets the cleave and she gets the speed. So she's a terror. I think Tyrael with Garrosh, Tyrael with Kerrigan, Tyrael with anything melee is good.
And another point to point out, the shielding is actually really beneficial for Garrosh because his buff is based on his actual health. So if he's at 50% HP, he has 25 armor, but if he gets a shield, he could be technically higher than 50% HP, but he gets to maintain that 25 armor, and that's huge. Huge for his survivability, which is awesome.
Yeah, the armor shield interactions are so beneficial for Garrosh, and even Tyrael himself getting the 20, now 25, and now 20 armor from the throwing out your Eldruin. I mean, any armor buffs like that are just always insanely strong. And then Hanzo's getting nerfed in the most recent live patch to going down to only taking 10 armor away. I mean, there's a lot of value there.
I think Caldor tweeted out today in NA HGC, the Pro Division, Tyrael 100% involved rate, pick or ban. So I think that's coming in the coming weeks. I think we're going to see a lot more Tyrael. And we definitely saw him picked or banned in most of those games.
Yeah, and it was usually in the first part of the draft.
Yeah.
So I think the thing that I was most surprised about was the overall lack of Blaze, and a lot of attempts to put him in the main tank role. And I'm surprised he didn't show up in the off lane more in this tournament this week. Yeah. Maybe some people are just still learning him and want to hold off, or think he's not strong enough yet, but it seemed to indicate that people were liking him, and then we just saw a real lack of him showing up.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So, once again, just like we did with the EU, I want to highlight a certain player. And for NA this week, I want to highlight Vin, who was on SMV. Another note, he was also on Team Numerics. I love that team. So this clip is the final fight in Game 2 of the final on that top shrine fight. So let's take a look at it.
To respond to as the entire team of XD has begun.
Fantastic.
This is an exciting moment here. Leon Black is posturing up. The Iron Skin will be available very shortly. Here comes the flank and the combination, but the Force of Will is good.
Where's the Leyline still going to be? Big combo going down the sound barrier, being exactly where it needs to be. Leon Black in the back is zoned away from the fight, and the Dragon Blade is hitting the entire team. Just so much DPS from the Genji. But there is the Sanctification, the Feral Lunge, and the Go for the Throat doing a lot of damage. Talking Trees does end up falling. Jin is doing his best to hold the tight for the team, but that Dragon Blade just got way too much done in that fight.
Now I want to see what SMV do. I talked about this.
All right. So the main thing that I want to point out is just how much value he is getting out of that level 20 Dragon Blade. He is hitting 4+ people every swing for roughly 5 to 6 seconds. Now, Go ahead, Ver.
What I was going to say is I think the root of the value in this play, watching that again now just as an isolated clip, is Finn's insane patience in that team fight, because Malthael goes in with Tormented Souls. He is shredding everyone, doing a ton of damage. Lucio drops the sound barrier. That is a situation where it's like, oh no, this is bad. You know, they're about to shred my whole team. He just waits back, keeps poking, and then as soon as the sound barrier comes off, that's when he pops the blade and then just engages and gets the, like you said, insane value. His positioning with his twist strikes and the full swings of the blade are just perfect. But it was because he waited and was extremely patient there.
Yeah.
And you guys are giving it to Vin, but my MVP of that clip is Medivh. Their whole composition on the side of XD was looking to get that one kill and force the 4v5. And if you look closely at the clip, anytime they try to use their abilities to burst someone, that invulnerability comes out. And with that level 16 talent, even if the target took a little bit of damage, he was about to receive a big heal for all the damage that was negated. We see it multiple times, Rhaegar included, the Greymane going very low, and a shield or a heal comes out and saves him. And I think Medivh's control with that fight and his shield focus was so on point to enable every single target that fight. Even Genji taking full advantage of the invulnerability to be more aggressive with his swings. And that's my MVP of the fight.
Yeah. I also want to point out for Prismat, it was great of him to hold on to that lane line. He didn't just pop it right away. You know, and I think that was the point of what XD was trying to do. They were trying to draw out that ley line. And his... I'm not thinking of the word. I'm drawing a blank. But he's willing to hold it back. He's not... He's respecting the other team. He's holding the ultimate and using it right when he needs to. Right when that Sank comes out. Because they counter each other. Resolve. That was the word I'm looking for.
Right, because the Sank goes on the ground and the ley line still hits the Sank, right? And then even though the people that are immune are frozen, the Sank then disappears.
Yeah, he actually ended up missing it in the long run, but it forced them out of the sanctification early, which is pretty much what he wanted to do with it in the first place. He wanted to negate the sanctification, maybe by a few more seconds of time for cooldowns. The ending result, though, being the 4v5 and the quick end of that game.
Okay.
So really good moves by SMV.
Yeah, that whole fight was really well done, to be honest. Now, I want to shift away a little bit and just quickly, Fear, I want to talk about you for a little bit, because you've been casting with HeroesHype for a while.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to do the Open Division. Can you tell us a little bit about you as a gamer? Like, what got you into casting? What do you enjoy about it? You know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I've been playing games as long as I can remember. You know, I always played console games as a kid, and then I really got into PC gaming. I loved playing StarCraft 1, and Warcraft 3 was really what did it for me. So Warcraft 3 was amazing. I loved playing the use map settings type games, all those like hero arenas and stuff for years and years and years. And then, you know, World of Warcraft came out, played that for a very long time, seriously rated, did a lot of that stuff, always been really involved in the gaming sphere. But then I did spend a couple of years playing Heroes of New Earth and Dota. And then so when Heroes of the Storm came out, it was sort of the perfect game for me. I'm a huge Blizzard fan. I love all the lore. And I had been playing MOBAs for a while. And so I got in the technical alpha and I started playing and never looked back. I got really into esports around StarCraft 2. I loved watching casts. I love watching the MLG tournaments and all the different tournaments every weekend. And so when HOTS came out and the esports scene really started to Blossom. I loved it. I kept up with it. I remember when we got custom games and then they took them away, and and everything artifacts. I've seen it all, and I've always loved it. I got into streaming a bit this last year, and through circumstance, I just ran into some of the HeroesHype people through the weirdness of the universe, and decided I wanted to try my hand at casting the game because I can just talk about it forever and ever. So
Yeah.
I figured why not go on and do it while we watch some people play high level games, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, it has been amazing, and I can say from experience, talking about heroes is one of the most fun things in the world. And I hope to have you guys both casting together. I think you did a great job on Monday. So with that, I want to move into the end of our show. Do you guys have any closing remarks looking back at both EU and NA? Anything like that, and then just shout outs. So we'll start with you, Fear.
NA, I think that as the weeks progress, we're really going to start to see a much closer contest than we think we are. Like I think there's 5 or 6 teams in NA that are capable of being on top, and I think as different new metas flesh out, whoever can figure those out the most quickly are gonna end up on top. And I don't necessarily think it's exactly who is sitting there now. So I'm really excited about that. EU does seem like Singularity has a little bit of more of a stranglehold, but I would also like to keep my eye on that and see, because this is a long season. There's a lot of time to learn and evolve. So I'm excited to see the teams that are rising up. That's really who I'm keeping my eyes on. And for our shout outs, I just want to give a shout out always to all the HeroesHype people. You guys just love doing this. And shout out to Who's Amanda. She's the best streamer. Go check out twitch.tv/Who's Amanda.
Okay,
That's
Dunk.
it.
Let's move on to you, buddy.
Yeah, no. Shout out to our EU brethren. I know we don't do you guys justice and talk about you guys for too long. Unfortunately, the time difference does make for a quick shout out, but we do want to keep highlighting you guys, and we appreciate any comments and feedback helping us learn more about your teams individually. Unfortunately, we don't have the privilege of having played with you throughout your careers, so anything to help us help you get your names out there, that'd be greatly appreciated. Shout out to the HeroesHype people for sending me this really cool fidget spinner that I can't stop playing with. Really appreciate it. And for giving me and Fear the ability to cast those open games on Monday, because they were awesome.
Yeah, it's unreal, man. It's weird.
Personal shout outs. Thanks my boys again for always keep me going, keep my stream happy, keeping the chat live. Shout out to my girlfriend taking care of me, and shout out to my dog who is crying in a corner because she was fixed today, but she's doing good. So
no.
She ate his favorite hat on Monday, so
yes.
she
She ate my favorite hat.
for that, I guess.
It's payback.
That's what happens when you cross Dunk.
She ate my Heroes of the Storm hat, guys. It's pretty rip right
Oh
now.
no. All right. So for me, for NA especially, look out for teams like Serial Killers. Look out for teams like NA LOL, Reborn, teams that you wouldn't expect to be top tier, but teams that can definitely make a move. Along with that, EU, we got Team Go, who didn't finish top 4 this week, but I think they're one of the teams that will threaten that spot. So then going on to shoutouts, make sure to check out our Twitter, HeroesHype, and Twitch. Same, you're already here in the channel. But every Monday and Tuesday, we're also going to be doing the Open Division on our channel. We'll be following Other Side of the Bracket. This past week, again, Dunk and Fear are casting with us, and then Ghost Dunk. They're not the same person, actually. It's weird. He did they did Tuesday with Fear, and honestly, I thought that was really great as well. Along with that, the Blizz Heroes channel will be doing the other side of it. Thanks again to Jake and Caller for letting me obs with them this past week. It was a lot of fun. Lastly, make sure to go to our Discord, the HeroesHype Discord, and always watch our Twitter. We'll be announcing anything and everything Open Division related that you need to know when it comes to what server you're playing on. Like last week, we were on the tournament realm. This week, we're going to be on the live server with Maev disabled. So you always want to be up to date, and make sure your tournament realm is updated every week. That's one thing that you need to have as a player. So, thank you guys for watching and or listening if you're listening to us on the podcast later. For myself, Dunk, and Fear, it's been a pleasure to talk about the Open Division with you guys and for you guys. And we look forward to seeing you next week. All right. See you later.